Hi there, what's up? It's elections peak time. And in prime time, we bring to you a cracker conversation on which way the wind is blowing. We're going to do it through a set of stories, or more specifically, 3 angles or aspects which help you decide for yourself 2024. Which way today? So let's introduce our 3 stories that happened through the day. In the first story, we will essentially focus on how there is a dangerous pitch by the Congress to snatch your wealth. In the second story, we'll talk in detail about how the top court has come down heavily on the EVM cynics. And finally, the third one, taking our focus down to south in Karnataka, we will discuss how the Karnataka government's decision to categorize Muslims as OBC through the SEBC route could become a focal point of the storm for 2024 elections. Let's get you the stories. I believe Aishwarya is joining me. We'll get Aishwarya up in a bit. So the first story, ladies and gentlemen, that we will be discussing tonight is a story that has had India talking for 3 days now. Yes, the wealth redistribution promise by the Congress in its manifesto, though of course that particular phrase has not been mentioned by the Congress party in its manifesto. It was done subsequently by Rahul Gandhi, who's effectively leading the Congress campaign a day after manifesto release from Andhra Pradesh. Aishwarya is live with us. Aishwarya, important day, Prime Minister really pushing the envelope further and continuing his relentless targeting of the Congress party manifesto.
Well, that's right. The Congress party has put up at least half a dozen of their leaders, Abhishek, to come out and then defend. But the point is, if Sam Pitroda is not representing the Congress party, then why can't Rahul Gandhi come out and say that no, Sam Pitroda is not my guru? That no, whatever Sam Pitroda is saying is wrong. From the extra tax point to this. Because what Sam Pitroda has literally said is that Congress is going to come and loot people of their hard-earned money, of their family wealth. That is exactly what Sam Pitroda is saying, viewers. And Rahul Gandhi is quiet. Rahul Gandhi is sending in a man called Jairam Ramesh.
Right.
Who cannot win a municipal level election. And
Right,
if he can, please, the Congress party should come out, Abhishek, and tell us that which is the constituency from where Jairam Ramesh is contesting his elections.
We'll try
but the reality is that people with an American mindset are running the Congress party,
Aishwarya,
or with a foreign mindset, or who believe that the policies which the foreign countries bring in are better, are running the Congress party.
Right, Aishwarya.
So what literally the Congress party is saying that, hello, give us a chance and we will come and loot you of your wealth.
Right, Aishwarya.
Abhishek, back to you.
Right, Aishwarya. In fact, let's, for the benefit of viewers who have just joined in, let's make them listen to what Sam Pitroda said and what he said, which made the Prime Minister respond to it or pick it up. Let's listen into both Sam Pitroda and then the Prime Minister's reaction.
So if, let's say, one has $100 million worth of wealth, and when he dies, he can only transfer probably 45% to his children. 55% is grabbed by government. Now that's an interesting law. It says, you in your generation made wealth. You are leaving now. You must leave your wealth for public. Not all of it, half of it.
परिवार के शाहजादे के सलाहकार, इस शाहपीर परिवार के शाहजादे के पिताजी के भी सलाहकार, उन्होंने कुछ समय पहले कहा था, और ये परिवार उन्हीं की बात मानता है। उन्होंने कहा था कि हमारा देश का जो मिडिल क्लास है, मध्यम वर्गीय लोग हैं, जो मेहनत करके कमाते हैं, उन्होंने कहा उन पर ज्यादा टैक्स लगना चाहिए। ये इन्होंने पब्लिकली कहा है। अब ये लोग उससे भी एक कदम आगे चले गए हैं। अब कांग्रेस का कहना है कि वो इनहेरिटेंस टैक्स लगाएगी। माता पिता से मिलने वाली विरासत पर भी टैक्स लगाएगी। आप जो अपनी मेहनत से संपत्ति जुटाते हैं वो आपके बच्चों को नहीं मिलेगी, बल्कि कांग्रेस सरकार का पंजा उसे भी आपसे छीन लेगा। यानी कांग्रेस का मंत्र है कांग्रेस की लूट, कांग्रेस का मंत्र है कांग्रेस की लूट, जिंदगी के साथ भी और जिंदगी के बाद भी। जब तक आप जीवित रहेंगे कांग्रेस आपको ज्यादा टैक्स से मारेगी, और जब आप जीवित नहीं रहेंगे तो आप पर इनहेरिटेंस टैक्स का बोझ लाद देगी। जिन लोगों ने पूरी कांग्रेस पार्टी पैतृक संपत्ति मानकर अपने बच्चों को दे दी, वो लोग नहीं चाहते कि एक सामान्य भारतीय अपने बच्चों को अपनी संपत्ति दे।
Abhishek, keeping in mind the format of the show, we have Yogendra Kapoor, senior economist, joining in from Delhi. We have Vijay Sardana, another senior economist. Thank you, sir. And we have Ashutosh Mishra, senior journalist, all three joining in from the national capital. The first question, if we take to Yogendra. Yogendra, what is this that Sam Pitroda from Thoda Tax Extra De Do to this inheritance tax? What is this thought process of Sam Pitroda? Because Prime Minister is saying or calling it a clear robbery, loot, L-O-O-T, dakati.
See, what I'll say is that for Sam Pitroda, it must certainly be an interesting idea to impose inheritance tax. But as per my perception, it is not at all an interesting idea to even think about. And I think so far as the rich becoming richer in this country is all fine. But I will certainly concede and agree that so far as the redistribution of wealth is concerned, is certainly important to that extent where we have to see why the poor are becoming more poorer. Because this is very, very important and at the same time dangerous for the economy. Because at the end of the day, we have to find ways in which the poor strata of the economy, they can be made equipped in such a way that they are able to generate income and become a part of the mainstream economy. And that's where I think it's very important for the government, both the central government also and the state government, to create avenues for this development of skills of that class. Because at the end of the day, we have to understand that a skilled India is only going to be a productive India.
But Yogen,
and further, so far as the inheritance tax is
Mr.
concerned,
Kapoor,
I think
for that the government has to do. It doesn't. Abhishek, no. I am just queuing, and then Abhishek will take the next question. But I am saying, Abhishek, for that the government has to come up with policies, right? But not loot of what people have literally saved after working hours after hours, paying all the taxes what the government want, just because one fine day Sam Pitroda thinks it's good or it's dynamic, so let's get in. What is this?
Aishwarya, let me take this to Vijay Sardana. Vijay Sardana ji, you see, there is a history of the Congress party experimenting with, crazy socialist ideas and essentially following policies, the license permit quota Raj of yore, for example, which was clearly anti-wealth creation. And that DNA sort of continues in the Congress ecosystem. So ironically, the inheritance tax which was removed by Rahul Gandhi's father, Rahul Gandhi's advisor is now today batting for it, suggesting that maybe India can again toy with the idea of inheritance tax. What constituency you think the Congress party is actually addressing with this?
See, unfortunately in this country, if you remember during demonetization, one of the issue was that because demonetization is creating problem for wealthy people, that's why poor people are happy. This is the mindset. And you know that majority of voter or vote bank in this country we look them from a poverty point of view. Whether it is a freebies or harassing rich or creating problem for rich, political parties feel that they are making poor happy. This is the mindset.
Okay.
You know, it's a relative phenomenon. It is not that you are providing them resources, capabilities, competency,
You're not completely wrong there.
education, infrastructure, so that anyone who has a potential wants to grow in life should not face difficulty. That should be the role of government and governance. But what we are proposing is that people, those who worked hard, and they worked hard because Constitution
Aishwarya.
gives them a freedom to choose the profession.
Give it to Aishwarya.
If you look into fundamental rights under Article 19(1)(g), what it says, let me read out for the audience. All citizens shall have the right to practice any profession or to carry on any occupation, trade or business. What I do, I pick up a profession where I can create maximum wealth through my potential within the rules of the government or the country. So I create all systems, I work hard, I pay income tax, I pay wealth tax, I pay dividend tax, whatever is required under the law, I do it. And if I become wealthy and rich, this creates problem for certain political mindsets. And they want to communicate to the major constituency, which is their vote bank, okay, don't worry, we are not able to provide you good life, we are not able to improve your quality of life. So what we are going to do now is, we are going to harass, we are going to punish the people, those who have worked well in life, became rich, we will rob them and
You're
give
right
it
to
to
a large
you.
extent,
So
Mr.
instead
Sardana.
of government, we will become a Robin Hood.
No, but this,
So this
no,
is
Mr.
what they are
Sardana
trying to
Abhishek is right to an extent, but this Robin Hood theory doesn't work. But this Robin Hood theory doesn't work in reality, sir. In reality, we will have a long discussion, a long format discussion on this. But keeping in mind the format of the show, Abhishek, let's move on to the second important story, and that is EVM and the VVPAT. Abhishek, when you were trying to explain the full form of VVPAT, so I am not going to get into the full form of VVPAT. But I am saying, even if you do that, Abhishek, even if you do that, do you think now you've got it by your heart, huh, Abhishek? You got stuck last time around, so you've got it by your heart. But what I'm saying, Abhishek, that even if Congress party, even if this happens, Congress is still going to find an alibi. Because I feel that they are looking for alibis everywhere. They are looking for alibis, whether it's EVM, VVPAT. This whole system is not something which Modi has introduced, or for that matter, BJP has introduced. Even the people now have started talking कि यार बहाना बंद करो, कब तक बहाने बनाओगे और कब तक नए बहाने बनाओगे. They are like a crybaby looking for new alibis, looking for new bahanas. So let's listen in to this special report, Abhishek, and then let's discuss.
I believe there are some graphics, Aishwarya. Essentially, the issue is that there is a petition or a PIL the Supreme Court,
Please carry on, Abhishek.
which is led by Association for Democratic Reforms, the same NGO which had filed the electoral bonds petition on which they won. And their plea in this PIL is that the entire EVM ecosystem, all the 200,000 plus EVMs that are used during the general elections, they should have a VVPAT mechanism attached to them. As of now, every assembly constituency has randomly chosen 5 EVMs, and just so that the voters know exactly whom they are voting for, and that's a randomized sample. But these petitioners believe that that's not enough, that all the EVMs used in the entire electoral exercise should have a VVPAT mechanism. It's a big logistical decision at a great cost that, of course, we as a democracy would have to decide. Maybe the government, in fact, has indicated that they would be willing to, but might do it in a phased manner because it has costs, it has logistics attached to it. Let's try to understand from Ashutosh Mishra. He's there with us. Ashutosh, is it, as Aishwarya says, a case of crybaby, a case of sour grapes? Because the same Congress party and the ecosystem, which celebrated mandate in Karnataka and Telangana just 6 months back with the same EVMs, is now again creating a situation where you sow the seeds of doubt about the mandate because of this EVM VVPAT issue.
So you have to realize two things here. First of all, it's that now machines are not the main target. The main problem here is the dispensation. And when I say dispensation, I mean Modi Sarkar, which changed rules to select its own election commissioners. It's the process which is being questioned. So if you can manipulate there, then what are the chances that it cannot be done again? And there has been a study by a Ashoka University ex-professor of how manipulation was done in 2019 Lok Sabha
You are
elections.
already saying.
So you can't say that everything is
that even
above board.
इसके बाद बाकी दो गेस्ट पे नहीं जाते, move on to the third
If you
story.
get it, they are not going to be satisfied. They are already looking for another alibi.
No, this is not an alibi. The people looking for alibi here are the people. Just before, in the previous debate, a gentleman was saying that inheritance tax is a socialist idea. It is implemented in USA, which is a capitalist country, and Jayant Sinha, Arun Jaitley, and the income tax department of Modi Sarkar after COVID had suggested that inheritance tax be included, be levied now again. So it's the Modi Sarkar which is, right now is indulging in
But did
this
BJP do that?
Where it's
But did BJP do that? Even if I take you, even if I take you on that point that Jayant Sinha or late Arun Jaitley proposed, did Modi, did the Prime Minister implement? The Prime Minister could have implemented in 2014, in 2019. Did he do? No. He is standing today, Abhishek, in front of lakhs of people and challenging and questioning it. Just because America did it, Ashutosh, that is my problem with the Congress party. Just because, Abhishek, just because America did it.
You are again misleading the public.
It doesn't have to be right for India.
It's not divide on everyone. It's not divide on you and me.
Just because America did it, it's not right for India. Understand this.
You have to realize it's the suit boot ki sarkar which is more worried that inheritance tax will be levied on its crony capitalists who have been paying it the electoral bonds. What happens to them? You and me, people who are
Abhishek, you need to remind him of what Rajiv Gandhi did
middle class don't have to worry about
in the first cabinet or in the first budget, beg your pardon, in 1985. Why he removed the inheritance. Abhishek, you need to remind him. Abhishek, you need to remind Ashutosh Mishra.
Unemployment and rising cost of life has people are sick of it, and now he has to change the
Ashutosh, you are not getting the
debate, and that's what he's trying to do.
Aishwarya, I need not remind anything to Ashutosh. He knows what he is up to, what the Congress party is doing, or what rather the Congress party ecosystem is trying to do with this timing of a petition on EVMs yet again with the general election cycle. So obviously this is aimed at sort of raising some doubts about the mandate, if not the entire electoral exercise. In fact, today, the Supreme Court sort of chided the petitioners for persisting with this in a manner that you sort of question the election commission. They said, we don't hold elections. You have to trust some institution, in this case, the election commission. But of course, today was a verdict day which has been postponed till the next. The order has been reserved. We'll keep coming back as and when this story comes up again, Aishwarya. But we have to move on to the third one, which is down south in Karnataka. The decision of the Karnataka government, Aishwarya, to shove in, to get in elections for the Muslim minority through the SEBC route. It's a controversial political storm that has picked up after the National Commission for Backward Castes slammed the Karnataka government for doing something which has been rejected by various levels of judiciary, right from the Karnataka High Court, Andhra High Court, to the topmost court of the country. And despite the fact that you had even the central government at that time, led by the Congress party, trying to do it, the Supreme Court still said no. Or the Andhra High Court in that case actually said no. Yet we have the Congress government bringing a decision back which was scrapped by the earlier BJP government in Karnataka, Aishwarya. And that's become a political debate. There is, it was picked up by the Prime Minister earlier in the day at Sarguja rally in Chhattisgarh. And it seems that it's not ending anytime soon. Aishwarya.
Absolutely, Abhishek. And before we move forward, let's listen into the Prime Minister first, and then let's discuss further.
कांग्रेस की मुस्लिम लीगी सोच को देश के सामने रखना चाहता हूं। और जब उनका मैनिफेस्टो आया, उसी दिन मैंने कह दिया था, आज नहीं कह रहा हूं, उसी दिन कहा था कि कांग्रेस का मैनिफेस्टो पर मुस्लिम लीग की छाप है। 2009 के अपने घोषणा पत्र में कांग्रेस ने यही इरादा भी जताया। 2014 के कांग्रेस के घोषणा पत्र में भी इन्होंने साफ साफ कहा था कि वो इस मामले को कभी भी छोड़ेंगे नहीं। मतलब धर्म के आधार पर आरक्षण देंगे, अगर दलितों का, आदिवासियों का आरक्षण कट करना पड़े तो करेंगे। बाबा साहब आंबेडकर की भावना के विरुद्ध कांग्रेस ने जो निर्णय किया था उसको उखाड़ करके फेंक दिया और दलितों को, आदिवासियों को, पिछड़ों को उनका अधिकार वापस दिया।
All right, in simplest possible terms, the secular Congress party believes that religion-based reservation is okay, and that's the issue. That's the debate that the Prime Minister has sort of picked up. Let me go to Yogesh Kapoor first, and we have Vijay Sardana also. Yogesh Kapoor, you think that it's absolutely secular, though of course there is always this debate in the country that secular is essentially pseudo-secular, but religion-based reservations, how proper or constitutional are they? How in sync are they with the constitutional scheme of things?
See, I think reservations with respect to religion is always a very bad idea, according to me. And the point is that we are moving into a very dangerous terrain, because at the end of the day, we have to understand that this is nothing but at the same time making the people more, dependent as such, and which is not good for a growing economy like India. So my perception is that the government should always be focusing on the development of skills for the poor strata, because that is very important at the end of the day. Because if we have to look forward towards meritocracy in the economy, then we will be able to see that it is something which will bring the desired results on the ground. And if we move more towards reservation with respect to religion, I think it will be only leading to more chaos as well as, imbalance in the economy.
Okay, Vijay Sardana.
Okay.
Vijay Sardana, you think that first up, Islam does not practice caste, so there are no castes. Still, the Congress party is persisting. The same Congress party which believes in dividing the majority Hindu community also along caste lines in the name of Ambedkar, so on and so forth. But in this case, at least, there seems to be a case of double standards, a case of crass vote bank politics.
You should also remember Islam does not believe in secularism. This we have to understand it. See if what is the Hamas charter, go and see what is Iran, what is Middle East, all Muslim countries says that secularism is anti-Islamic. It is written statement. People can download the charter of Hamas and see it very clearly. Coming back to the issue. See, the point here comes up is that Constitution of India prohibits discrimination based on religion, race, caste, sex and place of birth. This is Constitution of India. Now, what you are trying to do is, it is nothing but a sheer lowest level of electoral politics where you want to secure your vote bank. Because you know it that there is nothing else, no agenda is going to work. You have to play an emotional card to protect and consolidate your vote bank. So this is nothing but a vote bank politics. Otherwise, they should have said, we will ensure that all Muslims should get a good education, good resources, good training, develop skill, and fight in the market and get what you deserve. They are not willing to say that. They are saying, we will devote the resources of citizens of India or national assets for vote bank politics based on religion, which is anti-constitutional. So this is what we have to understand and educate the citizens of India, that vote bank politics is anti-constitution, and secularism and Muslim ideology does not go together. Secularism is not acceptable in Islamic culture. Please understand this. So when
Okay.
any Islamic scholar says about
can discuss that
secularism,
later, but
he
what
is
I was saying
misleading
is that
everyone,
whether it is
including Muslims.
story 1, Vijay Sardana, Yogendra Kapoor, Abhishek, or story 3, they, somewhere or the other, they are all connected with what the Congress party is thinking, Abhishek, or what is the thought process of the Congress party. They might want to distance themselves with Sam Pitroda once or twice, but at the end of the day, they will not be able to, because what they mentioned in their manifesto, they cannot blame Sam Pitroda for that, Abhishek. Can
Well,
they?
absolutely, Aishwarya. And in fact, those three stories taken together help our viewers, you the voter, decide which way the wind is blowing in this 2024 campaign. And based on that, you, of course, also decide whom you are going to vote for. That was the reason why we brought you all those stories together with all their aspects and whatever we could pack in these 25 minutes at 8 p.m. We're taking a short break, Aishwarya, I believe, and on the other side, Niranjan joins you from our Bengaluru newsroom.